So right over here is where the homestead journey actually began. Everybody that sees my little homestead on social media thinks that this is just sunshine, veggies, and basically perfect. But in reality, homesteaders have so many challenges, and my challenge is this right here. So with all the floods in the last month, our homestead has had such a hammer, and so that is why we actually grow above the ground in raised beds. So I'm going to show you everything that has failed, our successes, and our future plans for next season as well as winter. So this is the part of the homestead that is at the lowest, and with all this rain, we literally have a swamp on this side, and because of the slope, all the water from the three neighbors funnel right into our garden, into this spot. So the plants literally drown, the roots rot, and the soil compacts. So this is the heart of why everything is grown in raised beds and containers, and it's basically the only way I could actually grow in the back garden. And this year has been exceptionally wild with the weather, so raised beds have actually saved this garden. So let me show you the projects that we actually want to get going. Here right now, as you can see, this is where the hothouse tunnel is being placed, and every single year we move it. And I decided to leave the frame up and basically half uncover it so that I could use it as a trellis. But right now, with all this rain gathering here, it's like a mud pud. It's like a mud pit, and I want to totally upgrade this area. So I want to convert this little tunnel into a permanent hothouse, which means that I want to actually put cement slabs inside, and I'm going to actually put a wooden door because the zips have broken on both sides. I'm going to make like a wooden frame and make a door, and then put some cement slabs inside so that when I do come inside the hothouse, I'm not slipping and sliding on all of this mud. So that is basically the first project I'd like to work on before winter, because I'd like to get this up by winter. And the only thing is that this is an absolute mud pit when the water is all sitting here, and when it dries out, it is so hard. So everything here has basically taken a hammer. If you look, that was actually a leaf, and you can see the holes in all the leaves. Even the corn, the hail ripped through all the corns. Garden is slowly healing. Right now my garden is so confused because we have cold snaps, we have hailstorms, and very little sun. So the soil stays wet for days, and my plants are literally confused. This yesterday was a puddle because it rained just a little bit, but this is one of the days that it hasn't rained for the whole day. The fruits have actually sized up, but they have been stagnant for a while. You can see all of the leaves here have holes in. Everything's literally got holes in because of this hail. It's literally just ripped through my garden. And you can see that this melon has been that size for months, and this melon took a hammer in the hailstorm, and everything is just not sizing up. Even my green peppers that are overwintered are so slow, and some of the fruit trees, the leaves are all curling, which is a first indication of stress.
The next day.
So the rain started coming down again. I had to quickly go and get the famous gum boots. And yeah, take two. So the plans for the garden next season, I want to make drastic changes, and only because I want to basically try and see if I can't make trellis. So you can see I have these sticks that are just basically screwed onto my raised beds. I've got this ladder garden as well, and I've just got this piece of mesh hanging there. So that was supposed to have been for my beans. Because of the hailstorm, it damaged the beans. I didn't even get a chance to actually grow. And see, it died off here. I do have another piece here growing. I just need to get something and clip it on, but yeah, that is a garner. So let's talk about the plans for next season, what I would like to do, and then we'll also talk about my plans for the raised beds during winter, and then we're going to just show you what is growing in the garden. These plants are put under cover because of all the rain. I was scared that my sweet potatoes were going to start rotting, so I put it under here, and so half of them are under cover and some not, but they seem to be doing very well. I've lost a few butternuts, sorry. I've lost a few butternuts on my two plants because of all the rain. The baby butternuts fell off. They got soggy, they rotted. I do see signs of new flowers that had developed into fruits. You can see over here. So this is the size it was when they fell off. You can see this one. I'm going to just take off because no use the energy going into this. And you can see it's happened here as well. I'm going to take this one off because that is not going to develop. This one I can straight away see it's not going to develop. So if you see your fruits or even your leaves that have diseases or just not taken off, rather take them off. You don't want the energy to be focused there. This one seems to be doing fine, so I'll leave that. And you can just see we've just got baby butternuts that is growing, and this will grow so big that we will have loads of butternuts. So on this side we have the loofah. So this is the one loofah, the other one's starting to take off, and there is a baby loofah here. I don't know if it will mature, but it's still a very young plant. But as you know, these plants look like this, and then all of a sudden it just takes off. Before you know it, there's so much loofah that this area is going to look so different. The exciting part is that we've actually got corn. I'm super excited. So I was told corn will have two cobs. You have the top cob that will form first, and that's the one you take off first. How you know when corn is done is that this will be very dry, and then you just also test it by opening and see how milky it is. Then you got a second cob corn, and that's will be ready the second harvest. So it does look like majority of our corn has taken. This one was very late in developing, but it looks like all 6 corns have taken. So the plan with the corn is that I'm going to take this bed, I think this bed, yeah, this bed, and I'm just going to put 3 rows I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 plants. So 21 corn in this bed. And then I'll have the melons running at the bottom. And I think we are going to dedicate one whole bed. Well, this is a double bed. And we're going to dedicate this whole bed to corn and melon next year. I've decided that it's on my design list. There, I might put the cauliflowers all in this bed. And then I forget what I have said about the other raised beds. I think I said this was going to be cucumber, and that's going to be tomatoes. And I want to make a nice tradie from the top there and make that the tomato and cucumber beds because there's more sun there. That works okay. The only reason I want to move it here is because I'll be able to access it from both sides, where right now this is how we've got the bed. And check, we've got a cucumber. So right now this method is working. I've got tomatoes in the front, I've got cucumbers at the back, and kohlrabi and that at the bottom. And this kohlrabi is looking really good. It's the first time I've actually seen it develop really good. The only thing is something is chowing it. I'm getting sad about it because this is the best I've ever seen the kohlrabi, and I'm saddened to see that. And because of the rain, this tomato is curling really bad. So these two tomatoes are the same variety. I just want to see what it is. It is it's my blueberry tomatoes, which is unusual because they actually do very, very, very well. And I grew these guys from seed, but they are taking a bit of a shock right now. The other tomatoes seem to be doing fine. So I am not 100% sure what is going on, and I have tried to treat the soil on this side. So we'll just give it a week and see if anything comes right. But the cucumbers are doing fantastic. I'm actually super chuffed with them. And they're looking really great. I see loads and loads of flowers, and before you know it, I have cucumbers going all the way up, hanging. Got tomatoes here, and this row, all 6, I think there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one broke. But this is called Roma tomatoes, and I grew these guys because I want to do my sun-dried tomatoes again and put them in olive oil. It's one of my favorites. I eat them in pastas. I make spaghetti bolognese with it. I love it. So it's something I've not tried the Roma. I always do it with jam tomatoes. So I'm very excited to see how the Romas size up and what I get from it. And then I think this is a cherry tomato. It popped up by itself. I just need to clip it on and get my clips out. And then you can see we've got some beautiful cherry tomatoes there. This is my herb garden, and because of the rain, everything is overgrowing. The oreganos are taking over and lavender is drowning. I see that, I think this is, oh wow, okay. So this is called Vietnamese coriander. It's really, really nice. And if you dry this out, it's an amazing spice, very, very strong. And then we've just got some mint. This is mint. I don't know which one. I think peppermint. That's peppermint. We've got a sunflower that's struggling. We've got the grape that's doing amazing. And then this is supposed to be the herb garden. And I'm not sure how the coriander, Vietnamese coriander, got there, but I think I must have just taken a cutting and placed it there. That is amazing. We love that. And then on this side we've got the Cape gooseberries, but the chickens just get it before me. You can see they've already went and did their own harvest. The rose bush didn't do as well as last season, But look how beautiful this rose is. Gorgeous. And we got some nice potatoes. So before I filled them out, I was curious and I took a look and I saw this big fat potato. So I think this season I could probably be very successful in potatoes. I cannot wait. One thing I have to say is that the apples are looking absolutely incredible. What do you say, Jackie? And then we've just got some peppers that we grew from seed. They are doing amazing. And this is the other potato. And I think I've lost my tag somewhere in there. But the minute the leaves start going brown and dying off, we'll harvest and just see if we have any luck. Remember last year's harvest was a little bit disappointing. We got potatoes, but they were very small. And to me, it was a win. They tasted amazing when I roasted it, so can't complain there. And then over here, I have beans. So I think this is the Wicked Lima beans. And you can see them all here. So I do need to start taking them off, because once the pod starts swelling up like this, you know it's ready. And then we've got a different variety here. And these beans are absolutely thriving. I'm pretty chuffed with them. You can see it's starting to swell. So I need to harvest. Kale is doing amazing there. And then I was supposed to have done the cover for the structure to protect my cabbage. And unfortunately I haven't been able to because of this rain. So I'm not sure when I'm going to do it or if I'm going to be able to do it. But we'll have to see how it does without one. Yeah, I've got some nice tomatoes here as well. Okay, so what is the plan for winter? Look at that. Got damaged from the hail. So what I want to do is, winter is a very, very quiet time for me. Not much I can grow and not much I can actually do in the garden. It's just way too cold. So the plan is to maybe keep I was thinking about 2 to 4 beds with crops, and that would be your winter crops. Then with all the other beds, I want to use it as a compost bay. So we have a tree that literally sheds its leaves, loads and loads of leaves, and our compost bin is pretty full. So what I want to do is that I want to take all these leaves and dump it in my empty raised beds and grass clippings and let that break down over the winter period. And by the time late spring comes, where I can just get to sieve out my actual compost bay and throw that compost, mix it up. So I mix my compost bay with some bought store compost with some perlite and some peat moss. I give that a nice mix, and I fill my raised beds. Now I haven't really done too much filling of my raised beds this season because the compost bin didn't break down faster than I wanted it to, and that is what I'm going to be doing in winter. I'm going to use all my beds as a compost bay and just throw all of the leaves, the grass clippings, food scraps in the bed. Make sure it's watered, let it break down naturally. Even the rabbit and the chicken manure I'm going to dump in there, and that's it. Just let nature do its thing. And then when late spring comes, when we start our seedlings and that, by the time it's time, when it is time to plant it in the beds are all ready. This season, I did it very differently. I didn't plan my beds, I just planted, and now I feel like I'm all over the place. So I'm going to do the planning again and make sure that I know where most of the sun falls, so these crops will go there. Make sure that the sun can still fall on these crops that I'm going to plant there. And there is something else I want to show you guys that I want to also do in the homestead, so let me show you guys. Another thing I want to do is, you can see by the raised beds, there's water that gathers there, and all my pots are literally on the ground, so the airflow and the drainage, because that little hole at the bottom of all the containers and pots doesn't really get to go down, because this is clay soil. There is good drainage, but it would be better if that was elevated a little bit up. So what I want to do is, from the raised bed to about here, I want to make cement blocks, and it'll be like a pathway from there all the way to the end of this bed. And then I can get, I don't know if I've got it here, there it is, something like that, where you actually rest your pot on here. It needs about 3 or 4, and if I can get a mold and then put it on top of these slabs, then put the pots on top there, I think it would look a little bit better, and then it will also be a little bit easier to cut the grass than move the pots, cut the grass, and put the pots back. So I want to do slabs there. And so on the side where I said that I wanted to do the slabs, by the entrance of my arches, I'm actually not going to put a slab here. I forgot about that. I'm going to put another herb box, and I'm just going to do a half herb box because our washing line is very close here. And I'm going to probably put a dwarf fruit tree in there. The same on this side. I'm going to do a half a raised bed, and I'm going to put a fruit tree in there. And then I'm going to have the slabs with probably only be able to fit 2 pots there. And I'm going to put another fruit tree there. And that's it. Then it will just be fruit trees there. The only thing with having the fruit trees there is that it does block out some of the sun for the crops, but that is why I need to plan the garden. I need to plan it so that everything works for each other. Nice and muddy out here, and there's nothing much I can actually do. The soil is way too wet, and I'm just making such a mud pit here right now because of the wetness. Oh, and it's predicted to rain some more tonight and even tomorrow, so it is so frustrating. I can't get into the garden, and whenever there is a gap, I try and see what I can do. There's new seedlings that need to be planted out, and I think I might quickly just do that. But in the meantime, that is how the homestead's looking. the plants have had way too much water and no sun. And so we are backing a little bit on this side. I have plans for the future for the homestead and hoping to start projects soon. And I was hoping to actually have some of the projects done by now, but I can't get to work outside. So it's been one of these very, very frustrating seasons with so much rain. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's hope that the rain eases off just a little bit, and take a look at this next video. I think you will enjoy it, and I'll see you in that one.